All right, enough of Nagelsmann and his mustache. How about some quick hits instead?
Let's go, Gab.
Matheus Cunha to Manchester United is done, and now Brian Mbeumo could be on his way from Brentford in a deal worth up to 55 million. You like this, Jules?
I think it's a lot of money for two players for Manchester United this summer. 62.5 for Cunha, up to 55 for Mbeumo is a lot. I didn't think that a kind of left-footed right winger was what United needed and wanted, considering you have Amad Diallo, for example. But this is just me. Mbeumo chose United above instead of the other options that he had, including like Newcastle, for example, who were really keen on him too, to play in their 4-3-3, which is much more similar to what Brentford do than this United system under Amorim. So yeah, are they good players? They're very good players. Is it a lot of money? Yes, it is. And you can't get those wrong at that price, 55 and 62.
And at that age as well, I think, because, you know, they're 25, 26. No, but what I mean is they're going to come in, they're going to sign 5-year deals. If it doesn't work out, you're going to really, really take a hit. It's not like a younger player where, you know, you spread the amortization, whatever, and you can convince somebody they're going to turn around. You have to get this right.
Yeah, and I don't want to put off United fans. And I'm not trying to be overcritical here, but Cunha overachieved his expected goals by 7. His goal tally by 7. How do you put it? So his expected goals is 7 higher than. Sorry. His number of goals this season in the Premier League. Sorry, I'll get that. His number of goals in the Premier League this season is 7 goals higher than his expected goals, and same for Mbeumo. So between the two of them is 14 goals extra, if you want, compared to the XG this season, which I think is a lot and is not really sustainable. So that's all I'm going to say.
Remember Ratcliffe said they'd started investing in analytics?
Maybe that's right.
Maybe that's down the road. My views are clear. Osimhen, Vlahovic, similar age. They'll cost you a little more in wages. They'll cost you a little less in transfer fee. To me, one of those guys would have made a lot more sense. But hey, what do I know?
And meanwhile, Gab, Rasmus Højlund could be on his way out to help fund the deals for Cunha and Mbeumo. I guess Inter like him a lot, more than Mark Ogden does, for example.
Yeah, well, considering I don't think Mark Ogden likes any United player except for like Dennis Irwin and people who were there before that, people he saw as a kid. I think Inter are doing the thing where obviously, you know, Correa's gone. We'll get to that. Arnautovic obviously gone too. Hey, let's take him on loan. He'll be a third striker. He'll lead up some minutes. Let's negotiate an option to make the deal permanent, say 45 million. And then we'll know that after a year, though, we can always negotiate that option down. Yeah. That's what they're trying to do. United want to make the deal. They say, permanent? No, they want to do it permanent or an obligation to buy. And Inter like, not so sure about that. But 45 million, I think, is the obvious amount because that is the residual amortization left on Højlund's contract. So if they don't want to take a loss on him, United need to get at least that. From one legend to another. Milan are close to picking up Luka Modric.
Oh,
age is just a number, Jules.
Is it, though? Is it?
We just talked about Cristiano Ronaldo scoring the winning goal that sent Portugal to the Nations League final.
Luka Modric is not Cristiano, and a midfielder is not centre forward either. I don't understand this one whatsoever. Even as a free, I'm sorry.
Different sheriff in town in Milan. They do things differently now, George.
Yeah, so what? They're going to sit deeper and just have Modric playing the kind of a quarterback role, if you want, and just bringing the ball forwards. I don't.
Last 30 minutes of the game.
Yeah, okay, as a sub, maybe. But, I don't know. I would spend my money elsewhere, to be fair. Sticking with Milan, Gabi, could they really be sending our boy, Magic Mike Maignan, to Chelsea?
So Magic Mike has 1 year left on his contract.
Yeah.
Chelsea have, I think, 99 senior goalkeepers on their books, something like that.
Yeah.
I think this to me speaks of negotiation. It looked like they were going to extend Maignan, I think, a year ago, and then negotiations stalled. I think they're still ongoing. I think he's the top 5 goalkeeper in the world. Didn't have the best season this year, but I think he's still right up there. He'd make sense at Chelsea for the way he plays. Yeah. He'd fit right in, but he doesn't make sense at Chelsea for his salary, and he doesn't make sense at Chelsea for his age. Not that he's old, but
30
he's not
next month.
Under the age of 24. So I think as a negotiation ploy, maybe see if somebody else comes out of the woodwork. So my guess is he's not coming to Chelsea. He's going to go somewhere else if he does. Or Maresca has so much credit with the club now that he says, hey, make an exception in Magic Mike's case.
He wants to go. They want him. I think this one will happen.
All right, Jules, we're not done. We have more quick hits
Yes.
and more United because you just can't get enough.
Absolutely not.
Bruno Fernandes says he got an exciting offer. He called it exciting from El Hilal in Saudi Arabia. But he's staying put because he, quote, wants to play at the highest possible level, unquote. I'm shocked.
I'm
Are you?
shocked. No, but I don't think it's easy to turn down all that money. Although Bruno doesn't need any money, he's got plenty already. But still, I think he probably makes you think, especially at his age. He wanted to still play at the highest level, which is great. And we've seen players going to Saudi Arabia who clearly didn't want to do that. And also, United wanted to keep him. I think it would have been more difficult if Ruben Amorim or people at United had said to him, listen, it could be good for us if you... we're leaving, and if we could get the 100 million euros that they are offering for your transfer and this and that, but that was clearly not the case. So they're going to stay together, and yeah, I think it's a good thing.
I'm a massive natural skeptic about all this stuff, and you'll see why in the next quick hit.
Gab, let's go back to Cristiano Ronaldo. We thought his time with Al Nassr was over, but now it might not be.
Yeah, I know. And Gianni Infantino's sitting there. It's like, Cristiano, come on, man. I made the special transfer window for you from June 1 to June 10th. Just go somewhere for a month, right?
Still have 5 days, so there's still plenty of time.
He does, and it could yet happen. Monterrey have been linked. El Hilal been linked. Botafogo's been linked. Inter Miami have been linked by me because I want to see Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi on the same team just for the Club World Cup. That would sell some tickets. No, now I think he said something like his chapter was closed. Now the Sears are still negotiating with Al Nassr.
Fernando Hierro is trying.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I just do the Club World Cup, Cristiano. You're fit. You're fine. And then pick afterwards. It looks almost certain that Theo Hernandez isn't getting a new deal at Milan. Atletico Madrid want him for some reason. But I guess what, Jules? There's another mega offer from Saudi. And guess what? It's Al Hilal.
Yeah, it is. It is. And to be fair, it's there on the table. I don't think he wants to take it. He's really waiting on Atletico, which is his obviously favorite destination for all the links between the Hernandez family, from his father to his brother to himself, with Atletico through the last 30 odd years or something. So you can understand why he wants, in a way, kind of going home to Atletico and not so much going to Saudi. If Atletico don't come, though, or can't find an agreement with Milan, I'm not really sure outside of Al Hilal where he could go right now. I don't think there are many
because
suitors.
nobody wants him.
Yeah, exactly.
And I question how much Diego Simeone. I know Atletico are known for doing weird deals, but you're okay on the left-hand side, aren't you?
Yeah.
You've got players there who are good in Samolino, and you got Giuliano
Ronaldo,
further forward.
Yeah.
Well, what do you need this guy for? And also, you talk about indiscipline. As Diego Simeone, he's going to rip him a new one if he behaves the way he behaved at Milan. And speaking of Barcelona, they're reportedly close to meeting Espanyol goalkeeper Joan Garcia's 25 million release clause. Espanyol fans don't like it. They've made it known. I'm guessing Marc-Andre ter Stegen doesn't like this very much either.
No, I don't think so. He would. I mean, Joan Garcia has been the best goalkeeper in La Liga this season, and pretty much by far. And at 25 million for someone his age, because he's, I think, 24 years old, it's a really good deal, even for Barcelona, who don't have much money. We know, we said that. That's why they haven't paid the release clause just yet, because they just need to make sure they find the salary space in their salary cap and be able to pay that release clause in one go, because that's what release clauses are for. And Espanyol fans don't like it that he goes to the enemy. Of course, I don't think Joan Garcia minds at all. I think he's quite excited to go. And if you're ter Stegen, then you know you probably, I don't know who's going to be the number one, but if you spend that money on Joan Garcia, it should be him, really.
I don't know. He's the club captain. I think it's insurance against him getting injured, but it's bye-bye Szczesny, I assume.
Yeah, well, yeah, we knew that, though. It's done. Chelsea have confirmed Liam Delap as their new signing. Anything more do you want to say, Gabby?
He's going to wear the number 9 shirt, and I think this is a very good signing as an alternative to Nico Jackson. And Cole Palmer, by the way, moving to the number 10 shirt.
Yeah.
It's a Bournemouth defensive fire sale after Dean Huyson to Real Madrid and probably Milos Kerkez to Liverpool. How about Ilya Zabarny to your freshly crowned champions of Europe, Paris
Champions
Saint-Germain?
of Europe. Yes, that's right. He's the priority for that right-footed centre-back that they want in front of Ordonez, for example, from Bruges. 50 million euros, 22 years old. I think he's very good. I preferred him to Huyson, even although not the same quality in distribution, but he's got so many other qualities. I think that would be a very good signing from PSG, and Luis Enrique is really keen as well. Jadon Sancho is going back to Manchester United, Gab, and like you, Chelsea didn't want to keep him around and will then pay £5 million to get him out of the obligation to sign him.
Essentially, this means they paid £5 million plus a substantial portion of his wages for a season. Again, not the best situation. I think they genuinely thought that they could work out a deal for him. I mean, they would have had to offer him a new contract. He would have to have taken a pay cut. He wasn't willing to do it. And I think it's kind of short-sighted from Jadon Sancho, actually.
Yeah?
He'd rather go to United. I don't know what he's going to do for the next 12 months, given that's when his contract expires a year from now. But yeah, I think it's a missed opportunity. Jude Bellingham's little brother, Job, is on his way to Borussia Dortmund, following in his footsteps. Does that mean next stop Real Madrid?
That's a good question, but it worked for Jude to go quite young to Borussia Dortmund and different time to Dortmund at the time.
Also, this guy's ancient compared to how old Jude was, right?
Yeah, that's true. He's a bit older. Not that much older, though. But yeah, great season with Sunderland. He could have stayed at Sunderland and stayed in the Premier League and continue there. I think they felt that it was probably better to go through the Bundesliga because he worked, again, very well for his older brother. I can understand that. I don't know if he's as good as Jude. So
is it a similar profile? I don't watch the Champions. Is it a similar profile of player?
Yeah, quite similar.
Is he similar to the Bellingham who went to Borussia Dortmund and played in central midfield? Or is he similar to the Bellingham at Real Madrid who's a pretend striker?
He's a more still central mid, box-to-box now than the number 10 that his brother has become, like a goal machine in his first season kind of thing.
Jack Grealish reportedly won't be going to the Club World Cup. Jules, he's on the market, but he has 2 years left. He has a huge contract. Is he going to go on the Calvin Phillips plan?
Well, so you mean the loan plan? I guess right now, I don't know how much money Man City would want for Jack Grealish. I don't know what the transfer fee would look like. 50 million, 40 million pounds, maybe. They bought him for 100 million, let's not forget. 3 years ago?
But who would spend money on Jack Grealish?
I think he's still a good player.
Al Hilal, maybe?
Yeah, I don't know. Saudi, although I doubt he will go to Saudi, to be fair. I don't know. It's a tricky one. I mean, being dropped for the Club World Cup when you need every player available to be able to have a pre-season while playing in a tournament, you think they really don't want you if they drop you for that. Yeah, absolutely. Because they will literally take every man and their dogs from their squad to be able to go and balance that pre-season with the tournament kind of thing. But to leave him at home and train on his own is quite brutal, I think. And you're right. Okay, a loan, although he's got huge wages, but still a loan is possible. But a loan where?
I was thinking about who was the manager at Villa before Unai Emery? Like, means there's some manager that he's worked with before that liked him. I know, obviously, Villa hate him, so he's not going back there. But
I don't think so. And again, I don't think that they have enough white players. I just don't know where you would go, really. It's a tricky situation, I think.
John Texter, this is your opportunity. Botafogo.
Heung-Min Son has offer from Saudi Arabia, Gab, and also just 1 year left on his contract to Spurs.
Yes, Al Hilal, apparently. No, stop. This is a classic one, right? He's got a year left. He's such an important figure for Dortmund. What he's done for the club has been tremendous. And what the club have done for him.
Over 10 years,
A year left. Naturally, you want a new deal. New sporting director likely coming in, Fabio Paratici. He probably wants to know, is Ange going to be here next year?
Yeah.
Because I think that's going to also impact the situation. If you're Spurs, again.
So they triggered the extra year. It was a club trigger clause, that one, not him. So his contract finished now this summer, and they triggered
the extra year. But that also would mean that from his perspective, he'd say, okay, you triggered this extra year. How about you give me a year on top of that?
Yeah.
And would you do that? Again, thinking with my resources hat on and thinking of the Mohamed Salah and Virgil van Dijk experience, I would say, hey, you got it really good here. I'm going to gamble. I'm not going to extend your contract now. I'm going to have this conversation with you in January, April, whatever. From his perspective, though, he'd probably want a bit more assurances. And I think he'd want to also be in the room and to understand who the next coach is going to be. Speaking of Saudi, Gabri Veiga,
Ah,
remember him? Is back in Europe joining, surprise, Porto.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we could have told you that 2 years ago when he left, really, when everybody was so surprised that one of the brightest young Spanish players doing well at Celta Vigo at the time decided to go to Saudi.
He was really of all the guys who've gone, he was really the one guy who was on the rise.
Absolutely.
First big contract.
The one that made no
Stood
sense
out.
to
The
go.
one that didn't make
exactly.
sense, yeah.
Absolutely. So now he's coming back for 15 million euros, which is super cheap if he can recover the level that he had 2 years ago, because I saw him play in Saudi and he was not as good as he should have been, or even that he was, or the potential that he had before he left to go there. Obviously, Jorge Mendes involved massively in all of this. Uncle George, our favorite uncle. So let's see. This could be a really good deal for Porto, and they could get a player that could easily leave them for 15 million in 2 years' time. He will still be young enough and go to a top club in Europe. From him, he made a lot of money in 2 years. Did he lose 2 years of his career? Probably. I'm not sure he would have learned much there, even with Matches Jasler as a coach, even with playing with Firmino and Mahrez and all those guys. I don't think he would have learned a lot in those last 2 years.
No, and I think what's interesting here is that he's still young enough that maybe he has some of the financial pressure on him is off.
Yeah, true.
But from Porto's perspective, this is a no-brainer.
Absolutely.
I mean, he would have to be an absolute turd to go and not get your money back for 50 million. So
Absolutely.
they will make a profit
Yeah.
when Gabri Veiga moves on. No question about it.